The camera opens inside a busy United States Marine Corps base where the sound of boots striking concrete mixes with distant commands and the constant hum of military life. Inside the mess hall, Marines sit around tables eating, talking loudly and laughing after long hours of drills and field exercises. In the middle of this noise, the door opens and a woman Marine steps inside. Her posture is straight and disciplined, but the left side of her face carries a visible bruise that stretches from her cheekbone to her jaw. The lighting in the hall makes the bruise stand out sharply. She walks forward with calm steps while conversations slow down around her. Several Marines at one table stare at her and nudge each other. One of them leans back in his chair and whispers something to his friends before laughing. The woman Marine named Lance Corporal Avery Hall keeps her eyes forward and grips her tray a little tighter than necessary. Her knuckles turn white, but she stays composed. She walks toward the food counter while the murmurs grow louder behind her. One Marine stands up and moves in front of her path with a mocking smile. He glances at her bruise and says loudly that it looks like she had a rough night. His friends laugh. Avery lowers her gaze and breathes slowly, but she does not respond. The Marine puts his hand out and blocks her again. He asks who gave her the bruise or if she simply walked into a door. The room becomes quieter as more people look over, but no one steps in. Avery tries to move around him, but he shifts his feet to remain in front of her. She finally says in a steady voice to move out of the way. The Marine laughs confidently and refuses. Before the situation escalates, the large door on the far side of the mess hall swings open. A wave of silence moves through the room as 6 Navy SEALs enter. Their uniforms, their calm and their presence create an instant shift. These men are known across bases for their discipline and their quiet authority. They walk together with perfect control and a sense of purpose. Chief Petty Officer Brooks leads the group. His sharp gaze moves across the hall and he notices Avery and the Marine blocking her. The SEALs pick up trays, but Brooks keeps watching the scene. Avery stands frozen with her tray while the Marine who taunted her taps the bruise on her face lightly with 2 fingers. He jokes about how much it must hurt and asks if she cried. Avery steps back slightly to stop herself from reacting. She knows if she throws a punch she will be the one punished. Brooks sets his tray down without a word and begins walking toward them. His boots echo loud and slow through the mess hall. Everyone watches. He stops beside Avery and looks at the Marine blocking her. His voice is calm and sharp as steel. He asks if there is a reason the Marine is touching someone who clearly does not want to be touched. The Marine straightens up but tries to act casual. He says he is only asking a question and jokes again about her bruise. Brooks does not laugh. He tells him to step aside. The Marine hesitates, then tries to joke again that Avery can handle herself. Brooks looks at him without blinking. The silence becomes heavy. Finally he says that respect is not optional in uniform. The Marine rolls his eyes and turns as if to walk away, but Brooks calls him back. He asks if the Marine finds her bruise funny. The Marine shrugs and says it looks like she got what she deserved. A tall SEAL named Dawson steps forward. He rarely speaks, but when he does people listen. Dawson asks in a quiet voice if the Marine thinks hitting someone makes him strong. The Marine quickly says he did not hit her. Dawson nods slowly and says that is good because if he had they would be having a very different conversation. Avery tries to speak, but Brooks raises his hand gently to let the SEALs finish addressing the problem. Brooks asks the Marine if he knows where Avery was the previous night. The Marine says he does not care. Brooks replies that he and his team care because Avery was with them. The entire hall becomes still. Brooks explains that they were performing a joint training exercise at the cliffs. During a climb, a rope anchor failed and a Marine slipped. Avery was closest and threw her arm out to catch the rope. The force slammed her face into the rock wall, but she saved the other Marine from falling. Not once did she ask for help or complaint. She simply kept going. The whispers return, but this time they carry awe instead of mockery. Dawson places a hand on Avery's shoulder and says she did not cry or slow down even with blood running down her face. The Marine who had mocked her looks down at his boots. Brooks tells him that he judged her without knowing anything. That is not strength. It is weakness. Another SEAL named Ramirez speaks. He says true respect is earned by courage and sacrifice, not by loud jokes in a cafeteria. Brooks looks around the hall and reminds everyone that every person in uniform deserves respect regardless of gender or rank. If someone cannot understand that, then they do not belong in the room. The Marine who mocked her sits down at his table again with his head lowered. Avery moves forward and the SEALs step aside to give her space. She walks calmly as the entire hall watches with a new sense of understanding. Brooks picks up his tray and joins his team again. Dawson turns his head slightly and tells Avery that if she ever needs backup, the SEALs do not forget those who stand with courage. Avery gives a small smile. By the end of the day, the story spreads across the base. Marines who had never spoken to Avery greet her with respect. Not because they pity her, but because they finally understand the reality behind the bruise she carried. It was not a mark of weakness but a sign of strength. As the sun sets, Avery walks past the training grounds where the SEALs are preparing for another drill. Brooks gives her a quiet nod. Avery returns it and continues walking with steady steps. The bruise is still on her face, but the weight it carried in the morning is gone. She has regained not only respect but her place in the eyes of those who had doubted her. The final scene shows Avery walking along the path toward the barracks while the sky glows orange behind her. Each step reflects calm resilience. She carries her honor the same way she carries her uniform, with dignity and quiet strength that needs no explanation.